Okay, good day. Welcome to the Great White North, aka Canadian Corner.
How's it going, eh?
Bob McKenzie, this is my brother Doug. Today our topic is dog scoops.
Everyone has an opinion about Canadian federal politics.
Oh, yeah.
It is my honor to respond to the Governor General's request that I form a government. And it's a solemn duty to serve as Prime Minister at this time of great consequence for our country.
Who the f is that guy? Who the f is that? You know damn well who I am. Who the f is that?
Hey gang, what's up? Aaron right here with my girl Sweet Pea, checking things out. That's a good question, Connor. Who the hell is this guy? Mark Carney, our newly unelected Prime Minister. Did you vote for him? I didn't. Huh. I don't think many people did. Anyways, we've got opposition leader Pierre Poilievre, Conservative Party leader, going to expose a lot about Mark Carney in this scrum. I don't know. Pierre Poilievre probably is going to be the next Prime Minister? What a gong show these Canadian federal politics are. Let's take a look at this. Pierre Poilievre shines some light on new Prime Minister, the unelected Mark Carney. Let's take a look.
The question in French was about whether I think that Mark Carney will abolish the carbon tax. Well, the truth is he can't do that without recalling Parliament. This is the carbon tax law. It's in place today. Until Parliament is recalled, this carbon tax law will be the law of the land. What he might do is hide the carbon tax by telling CRA to stop collecting it for 2 months before the election. So let me ask you if you think this is a believable proposition. 100% of his ministers voted dozens of times, not just to impose the carbon tax, but to raise it. Mr. Carney, his only public criticism of the Liberal carbon tax was that it was not high enough. They've had this tax now for over 7 years. The law that they still have in place would quadruple it to 61 cents a liter. And you believe that they're not going to bring it back 2 days after the election? Well, I think Mr. Carney has some land he might sell you in Florida, some swampland he might sell you in Florida if you believe that whopper. The reality is that Mr. Carney loves carbon taxes, and if you elect him, you will pay a brutal price. And he has also said he will be bringing in a shadow carbon tax targeting Canadian industry, and he has specifically singled out steel. There will be tens of thousands of steel, aluminum, cement, and other industrial jobs lost under Carney's carbon tax. The combination of Trump tariffs and Carney's carbon tax will destroy our industrial sector and make us hopelessly dependent on the Americans, all while profiting Mark Carney's personal investments in other countries, investments that he still knows he has, investments that, like the carbon tax, he just wants to hide. The good news is that common sense conservatives will axe the tax for real, for everyone, for good. We will make sure it never comes back. There is only one way to axe this tax, and it is to vote for the Canada First Conservatives.
Thank you. Next question, Prochaine question.
Good afternoon, Evan Dyer, CBC News. If you could answer in English and French also. If elected Prime Minister, do you still intend to fire the Governor of the Bank of Canada?
My view is that if waitresses, barbers, mechanics, or other people don't do their jobs, they get fired. You know, Mark Carney should have been fired when he was the head of the Bank of England, and he acted as, in the words of the London Telegraph, as an unreliable boyfriend, changing his mind constantly, printing too much money, which led to inflation. But he doesn't think that people like him should ever get fired. They should just get promoted after they raise people's costs and ruin people's lives. I disagree. I believe that government officials should be accountable for their decisions, and when they fail, government officials should be fired. That is how the life works in the real world, and that is how life will work when I'm Prime Minister of Canada.
This next question I do find pretty interesting. Like, I don't trust polls. I just don't. Like, people pay for polls, so they have an expectation that the poll is going to be in their favor, the people that are paying for it. Anyways, Pierre's going to answer this one. It's about the polls in Canada. What do you think? Leave it in the comments what you think about polls.
Colton Prale with CTV. Again, French and English if you could. A month ago, your party was up 20 points in the polls. Now you're statistically tied. What does that say about your leadership?
Well, I think that the choice that Canadians will face is whether they want to give the Liberals a fourth term after they doubled housing costs, doubled food prices, doubled the national debt, and made our economy weak and reliant on the Americans. Whether they want to elect somebody who sold out the country to ship jobs to New York and out of our country, and who has brutal conflicts of interest that will have him working against Canada in the future. Or whether they want Canada First conservatives who will axe taxes, build homes, fix the budget, and most importantly of all, unleash our economic independence by building pipelines, mines, LNG plants, and other economic infrastructure that will allow us to sell to ourselves and the rest of the world. That is the choice. More of the same with a fourth Liberal term, or Canada First change for the Canadian people.
Let's check this out. Pierre's going to answer a question here from Rebel News. Why don't the Liberals answer any Rebel News questions? Weird.
Hi, Mr. Poilievre, Alexa Lavoie for Rebel News. If you can answer the question in French and in English. So my question is about the Liberal contest. The Liberals say that nearly 400,000 people registered to vote in their leadership contest, but only 150,000 of those were verified, and they have not explained why nearly 250,000 voters were disqualified or otherwise didn't vote. And the writing by writing results are remarkable. Karina Gould only got 190 votes in her own district, and Chrystia Freeland only received 188. How concerned are you about the integrity of Carney's mandate?
First of all, Mr. Carney has no mandate. He has not been elected by the Canadian people. He's been installed by the Liberal establishment and Justin Trudeau's insiders. They prevented people from debating him. They've been hiding from the media because every time he answers questions, he gets caught in lies or says incredibly idiotic things. As for the Liberal leadership result, those numbers are either just pathetically low because Canadians did not want to vote for a weak, conflicted Mark Carney who had sold out the country by moving jobs and money out of Canada, or they show something more suspicious. But unfortunately, I don't have all the details. All I can say is that is a very small number of people that voted in the Liberal leadership race, much smaller than in ours. We excited people because people thought this is a chance to bring home the Canada that we knew and still love, where you can work hard and have a great life, where you can afford a home, and where seniors can put food on their tables, where our streets are safe. That's one of the reasons why I was blessed to receive the biggest number of votes of any leadership candidate in Canadian history that I'm aware of. Thank you.
This last piece is on Doug Ford, the Premier of Ontario, who is the most liberal conservative Premier that there is in the country. He's more liberal than a lot of liberals. He's as liberal as Jagmeet. Like, oh goodness. Anyways, Doug Ford making a mess.
This week, Canadians heard Ontario Premier Doug Ford, a conservative, praise the new Prime Minister Mark Carney, saying that he can, quote, smooth things with Trump and has an astute business mind that will appeal to the president. How would you convince voters otherwise?
By reminding them that the choice is, do you want to elect Liberals to a fourth term after they doubled the debt, doubled housing costs, doubled food bank lineups, doubled gun crime, and weakened our economy, making it more dependent on the United States? Or do they want to vote for common sense, Canada First conservatives who will axe taxes, build homes, fix the budget, stop the crime, and unleash production and paychecks so that we can declare our full economic independence from the Americans? That is the choice that Canadians will face.
Everyone has an opinion. We're going to wrap it up right there. It's just about done. So, pretty interesting scrum. Pierre Poilievre, is he going to be the next prime minister? Who knows? We need an election. That's for certain. Aaron right here, Canadian Looney, covering Canadian federal politics, trying to put a reasonable twist on all of it. Like, I want Canadians to see what I'm seeing, because it would concern you if you saw what I'm trying to get people to see. That's it, Aaron. Thank you for watching this video. Catch you next time. Me and Sweet Pea gotta go. Honeypot's back there just sleeping. Anyhow, we're out. Thanks for watching the video. Catch you next time.
Squiggle and squirm as you might, it is really hard to put lipstick on a pig.
In Canadian federal politics, the Canucks are represented by two separate yet unequal groups: the globalists who sold out and the opposition trying to salvage a country. These are their stories.